Okay, well, Steve Sarkisian spoke with the media yesterday, and he answered a number of questions about a lot of different topics. So we'll play a lot of different cuts of audio here. With the first one is probably the most important question that was answered by Steve Sarkisian. He was asked about how the team is handling this new level of success, beating Alabama, and the country's talking about how good Texas is, and they can be a college football playoff team, and are they going to go undefeated? There's a lot of positivity, a lot of optimism surrounding the program, and a lot of compliments being thrown these guys' way as well. That should be the case. They really accomplished something that was remarkable, beating Alabama in Tuscaloosa. But Sark was asked about now the challenge of handling success and how this team is going to do that. Here's what Sark had to say about that.
Yeah, what I thought was really cool this week, we did our traditional Monday morning meeting where we recap the game, and I show about 18 or so plays to the entire team, coachable moments, teachable moments, or things that we did well. And then I turn the page in that meeting and I get into what I think it's going to take this week to play well. And interestingly enough, I got a text from Quinn later that day. Do you mind if we have a players only meeting Tuesday morning before we start? And so of course, so the fact that, Quinn, that leadership committee wanted to have a players only meeting to make sure that they were reiterating the message about getting refocused on what we need to do this week, I thought was a great sign for us.
That is a good sign. When I was asked about, hey man, what are you going to do if you're Sark about, all of the positivity and all the celebrations going on about the Bama win, how do you get this team in the right mindset to handle success, something that they haven't experienced and something really Sark hasn't experienced. This is Sark's biggest win too. And I said it's got to be about the leadership, like Jalen Ford tweeting out, hey, I'm done at this point. It's all rat poison. He understands that's just one goal accomplished on a long journey, all right, to achieve your long-term goal and your much broader goal, which is to win the Big 12 title and then possibly to win or compete for a national title. So I love that the players only meeting by Quinn Ewers was called. I'm sure Jalen Ford was a part of that, the leadership council that Sark has there on the team. And usually players only meetings, I've said it before, are not a good thing. Usually you have players only meetings kind of like marriage counseling or couples therapy. It's when things are going bad. You want to go to marriage counseling to get things back on track. But this players only meeting is the exception to that rule. You are having this players only meeting to really acknowledge that the process has worked. We saw the end result, the desired outcome, which was beating Bama. Now, guys, let's double down. Let's recommit. Let's reaffirm, all the goals that we had, because they are still intact, and now they are much more realistic than ever.
Right.
For us.
Well, and that becomes the new challenge, right? I mean, the Alabama game was a bar, right? Can we meet that challenge? And we had a lot of questions all through the summer of what it's going to take for Texas, right? Think about who's going to be the edge rusher for Texas? Well, gosh, Ethan Burke and Anthony Hill off the edge. They were pretty damn good in that game. Who's going to play linebacker next to Jalen Ford? Well, David Benda has answered that question. Who's going to be the running back, and can you run the ball? Well, they were able to run out the game. So they did a lot of, and do they have the mentality to win a fourth quarter on the road against a good team? Well, they showed all those things, so they checked all those boxes. But the other big question lingering over this program is week-to-week consistency. It's being able to follow up wins and get into because as you said to me on Monday, Rod, they can't possibly be as prepared for the next 10 games as they were for Alabama. They had all offseason to prepare for it.
Exactly.
So now it's about the routine of honoring and respecting the next opponent, putting the work in to handle your business and not be a team that beats Alabama but then loses a couple of games along the way and derails what could be a great season.
Yeah, you don't want to peak too soon, and you don't want that to be the peak of the season for Texas football. So getting back to week-to-week and a week-to-week focus for this team, week-to-week game planning preparation, the Wyoming Cowboys are the challenge this week. Here's Sark when he was asked about the Wyoming Cowboys and that team taking on the personality of its coach.
Well, I think first of all, as you guys have heard me say before, I think teams ultimately take on the personality of their head coach. And Coach Bowl has been doing it a long time, and he's been doing it at a high level at multiple places. He's always been really successful. His teams have always been gritty, hard-nosed, and tough. They play a physical brand of football, and this team is no different. You know, they love to run the football. They love to do it a variety of ways with the personnel groupings, the shifts, the motions, to come downhill at you, and then they utilize the play action pass, and they utilize the quarterback legs to take advantage of that. I think defensively, it's a really veteran group. This is a very smart defense. Is as much as they are tough and hard nosed, they're very intelligent in the way they go about their business. They've got a really good pressure package, especially on third down and in the red area that they execute really well. They do a good job defending the run. I don't think that they have given up 100 yards yet in the season, stopping the run. And then they have confidence in their DBs to cover people. So ultimately, again, I think all those things are kind of a byproduct of who the head coach is. And if you can go back through Coach Bowles' career, all his teams historically have played that way. And this team's really no different than that.
All right, so there you go, Coach, talking about this Wyoming squad. I think Andrew Peasley, he's the straw that stirs the drink for that offense. He's the quarterback, and he's a gritty performer, but he's not necessarily a consistently good quarterback. He's just more of a playmaker playing the quarterback position for them, but he will make plays, especially with his legs. He's dealing with right now a shoulder injury, which makes him day-to-day, but the word on the street is he's going to play. And if he plays, he adds a different second reaction element to that offense. When the play breaks down, he can make something out of nothing. He did that a lot against Tech, and he is a big part of their run game. So whether they're going to have quarterback design runs or him as a scrambler, he's a big part of their run game. I don't know if they'll have as many design runs for him if he's dealing with an injury, because they have really some bright prospects in the Mountain West Conference this season. Starting off 2-0, they're not going to beat Texas, but they got arguably the best defense in the Mountain West Conference. Some people believe that could be the case. And it starts with Easton Gibbs, who's a Mountain West Conference preseason pick to be Defensive Player of the Year. Devon Harris, who is also a preseason selection to be All-Conference player, and defensive tackle Jordan Bertignol. Those guys are pretty much the centerpieces, but they have veterans and proven commodities on the defensive line and in the linebacking core. They believe their front seven is their strength, and we'll see if Texas will try to attack their weakness, which seems to be their secondary so far. That's a work in progress for them.
Well, Craig Bowl, the coach for Wyoming, as you mentioned, I mean, this guy is a winner, right? He won 8 national championships at North Dakota State when they're Division II. Then they transitioned to Division I up to FCS, and he won 2 national championships at that level before going to Wyoming. So this guy knows how to win. And with a guy like that who's in his 60s, Rod, who's been around a lot of winning football, to have a veteran team with 17 starters returning, 10 on defense, and a 6th-year quarterback, these are the kind of teams coaches like to have, right? Guys who played a lot of football, they're tough. And again, they can't match up with Texas player for player, but they'll scheme it up. He'll have guys who understand their roles in the game. And this will be kind of like Rice, right? We now know Rice is better than we thought when they played them, right? But Rice also had a coach in his 6th year who had a veteran team who has built the program, and they gave Texas some trouble for 2 quarters, and then the Longhorns blew them out in the 3rd. This game could be like that, or we'll see if the Longhorns carry that Alabama game and just come out on fire here with. By the way, the new LED lights will be debuted. LED light systems will be debuted when it gets dark in that game. Looking forward to this. But a good test. Obviously, Longhorns are, much like Rice, a 4-touchdown favorite. And I think that'll be pretty close. Much like the Rice game. Are they going to cover it? Will be coming down to the 4th quarter.
Yeah, the truth is, just like the Rice game, Sark planned on playing Arch. And we didn't get to see Arch because Rice went on a 9-minute drive, kept the football, scored a touchdown. That was not something Texas had planned on. And Sark admitted he was a little disappointed in that. Same thing in this matchup versus Wyoming. The plan is to get Arch some quality snaps before he ends up redshirting. Yeah, because Malik's going to get his. So Malik got his in Rice. He's the backup. The backup's going to get it. We're talking about the 3rd-string guy. Yeah. That's the whole point, right? If Arch gets in the game, then everything went according to plan. That means you got a really comfortable lead. So you got Quinn out early. Then you got Malik enough reps where you thought, okay, Malik got some good work in, and then you know what? Let's give Arch some snaps. That means everything went according to plan. If Arch does not get in there, everything didn't go according to plan. You didn't cover.
That's right.
Essentially, you'll see Arch. If they cover, you'll see Arch. If they don't cover, you won't see Arch. That's basically how the Rice game went. And if you are, if you're Wyoming, you're watching that Rice game. I don't even watch the Bama game, really. Not to take concepts from them. You can steal concepts from Rice because you actually can execute that. You have like athletes to Rice. You don't have like athletes to Bama.
Yeah.
So you're
And
watching
I
that
think-
Rice film going, man, we can do that.
Well, in
to
week
Texas.
3, I think Wyoming knows they're a pretty good team for the Mountain West. So I think, as you said, if they've got some guys banged up and nicked up, they may be careful too, knowing that this is a huge challenge for them that they probably can't win. But at the same time, you don't want to get guys hurt that you're going to need come conference play time. Or guys who are already banged up a little bit,
Very true.
you may be careful with them. So it could side with that as well.